On July 26, 2017, Ralph the Movie Maker published his review on Ridley Scott's Alien Covenant. Upon watching his review, I found myself pondering a good deal of questions. Like, is he actually a fan of Assassin's Creed Unity, or is that just a meme? He really leaves a lot up for viewer interpretation, and I gotta say, it left me with a good deal of anxiety. I also thought about Alien Covenant, so I did some research and came to some pretty wild conclusions. I think Ridley Scott is purposely shooting his movie in the foot. I'll explain, don't worry about it. First, however, I'm gonna offer a little plot synopsis. So a colonist ship called the Covenant, get it? The Covenant with God? Abraham's covenant with God? See, that worked in Prometheus because the religious philosophy was deeply tied to not only the plot, but also the emotional motivations of our characters. Here's a scene Ralph used in his video, and spot how quickly what could be Ridley Scott rambling in a drunken stupor turns into critical emotional reveals.
Okay. Guess you can take your father's cross off now.
Why would I want to do that?
Because they made us.
And who made them?
Well, exactly. We'll never know. But here's what we do know. Is that there is nothing special about the creation of life, right? Anybody can do it. I mean, all you need is a dash of DNA and half a brain, right?
I can't create life.
See, that served the narrative as well as explore your themes. I will defend Prometheus until time fades to nothingness and my skin turns to dust. But that's a topic for another video. After a variety of wacky antics, the crew pilots their way to an undiscovered planet and decides to give it a look, which goes just about as well as you think it would. I've seen a good deal of people ask why this woman acts so erratic and ends up blowing up the ship, so I'd probably explain with, she just watched a monster break through a man's back. That's what always tingles my amygdala when people complain about scared people in horror movies making stupid decisions. Like, oh, I forgot how when we get scared we suddenly evolve into Einstein. Yeah, she just snatched a look at the most terrifying creature in the universe climbing out of his spine and decided, oh, let me just take a minute to think a little bit about this. It'll be fine. In all honesty, this is probably one of the most effective pieces I've seen in horror movies in a while. The camera work and constant tease of escape build a real anxiety, and the progression of events is just perfect. Ridley Scott made Alien in 1979. He can manufacture suspense like McDonald's manufactures heart attacks. But this is where Ridley goes wrong. From every interview I've watched with Scott, he seems desperate to communicate how truly terrifying he wants the film to be.
To really scare people is quite difficult.
Where is it?
B-deck.
Heading for crew quarters.
The trick is to have a sense of unease leading to anxiety and fear.
Now, often I don't lend much thought to these interviews because it's often the confused ramblings of actors recovering from whatever hangover they'd woken up to that day, managing to mumble out, "It's a good movie," whenever they regain motor function of their mouths. However, Scott seems to have a real sincerity to his speech, and that combined with the final product really got me thinking. I don't think Ridley Scott was interested in a compelling narrative at all. I think he sacrificed the narrative to craft what in his mind would be a pure experience. Alien Covenant isn't about any of these characters, it's strictly interested in spooking you and communicating a feeling of bleakness. It's pretty evident when you analyze the film on a thematic level with, say, Prometheus. Prometheus is all about hope in the face of hopelessness, and Covenant is all about everything is terrible and the world hates you. Doesn't really make a whole lot of sense from like a sequel point of view. Scott is so focused on communicating a feeling that he forgets fundamental blocks of storytelling. This is where I think most of Alien Covenant goes wrong, besides the jarringly unfinished effects work. It gets kind of difficult to admire the effort put into these scenes when the alien just came out of Assassin's Creed Unity. Slurp, slurp, growl noise, slurp, slurp, angry noise, grr, 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 slurp. While it may play to Scott's artistic wants, it's superficial and unsatisfying to an audience. No attempts are made to gain any sort of empathy for the characters because he literally doesn't care about that. He shows major characters' deaths in the trailer. That being said, how much of this is studio and how much of this is Scott is difficult to determine, but usually larger figures like him are harder to push around, so I'm gonna blame him and no one else because movies are made by only one person. So Covenant drags me into this weird middle ground where I'm both impressed with it and at the same time apathetic to it. You just showed me 2 hours of people's bodies exploding. Maybe stop making these. Oh, good. Oh, cool. They're rebooting it to an alternate timeline. How many movies can you make about a thing that comes out of an egg and kills you? Like, how ironic that the original is built entirely on how unknown the creature is, and now it's plastered and commodified everywhere to such a degree that the original point of the movie is both mute and validated at the same time. I don't even think people remember the original movie the way it actually is. It's so jarringly different from the rest of the franchise that it sticks out like Assassin's Creed Unity in a bag of good games. But Alien serves a good example as why Scott's experiment here doesn't work. You can have understandable, clever, thought-out characters without detracting from your, oh god, the universe doesn't care about me themes.
What is my purpose?
You pass butter.
Oh my god.
Yeah, welcome to the club, pal.
In fact, building a strong connection with characters in these types of stories creates a tension that you really can't find anywhere else. Ridley Scott, you may have impregnated our chests, but you'll never impregnate our hearts. Growl noise. Slurp. Slurp growl. Oh, Garfield, you silly cat. Angry. Angry. Slime. Slime. Angry. Slurp. Slime. Growl noise. Slurp. Slurp.